So, hi everyone, welcome to the Diaries of Nadi Asha. This is a new series called Let's Connect. In this series, we're just basically, as the name says, we are all connecting to each other and we get to know different religions, different cultures, how does everything join in. A couple of weeks ago, I posted on my Instagram and I asked you guys if you know about a practice called Nikah, which was brought upon to me on a TikTok, a TikTok video that a Muslim lady did, and she was complaining that actually scholars do not address this matter, and I didn't know there was such a practice. So I promised to get you a scholar, and today with me I have Imam Salim Charo. And we're going to go through a lot of things, including the Muslim denominations, like the different Shia, Sunni. I only know the two, but we'll get to know more from our professionals today, inshallah. And let's get started. I would like you to introduce yourself to my little small audience as we grow.
Okay, I am Salim Charo. I am Imam I've been Imam in many masajid, but currently I'm Imam at Masjid al-Fathi in Kariobangi. And I've also been in several positions, one being the chairman of Council of Imams of Kenya in Nairobi. And I'm still doing other things that help the Ummah.
Shukran. Also, okay, so when I posted that question, I got a lot of questions and I came to you and I asked, so I have a lot of people interested in knowing what Nikah is all about and what's about it, and you told me it's practiced by the Shia.
Yes.
Yeah, and I didn't know all the Muslim denominations, so I think I'm not the only one out here who just knows I'm a Muslim and I practice Islam. We would like to know what are the different denominations and when did they break, especially the Shia and the Sunni, because they're the most common denominations.
Sure. Okay, initially, they got to, let me use the word that you've used when they came to break, is immediately the Prophet ﷺ passed on. That was in the 11th year after Hijri. So that's when most of these things, but initially, even before, when the Prophet ﷺ was still alive, there were some groupings, especially the groupings led by, because when the Prophet ﷺ migrated to Medina, so he eventually got the powers and became the leader or the political leader in Medina. So with the message that he had of Islam, and now he has all the powers, like now he became a leader in that place. So there are people who felt that they will be excluded. So they wanted to be part of this new system. And so they accepted Islam, but not in their hearts. They just physically, and these are the groups that mostly in the Quran are commonly known as or referred to as al-munafiqun, or the hypocrites. And they were led by a person called Abdullahi bin Ubay bin Salul. He was their leader. And eventually, most of the things, they used to be against, they would just physically come in the masajid, they pray together, fast together, but in their hearts, they used to hide a lot of animosity. And that's how they got to be. And later, when the Prophet ﷺ died, or after his demise, that's when these groupings came into existence. Now they had to publicly come and call themselves, now we are the Shia, we are Rafida, and so on and so forth. Yeah, but also the Prophet ﷺ in one of his traditions, he mentions that the previous nations, the previous religions, we are the same because we are all Abrahamic religion. So from Jews, they divided into 70 different sects, and then or 71, and the 70 will go to the hellfire, and only one will be saved and will eventually enter into paradise. And then he talked of the Jews, the Christians. He said they also divided into 72, and 71 will go to the hellfire, and only one will be saved. And then he said also this ummah, or this nation of Islam, is going to be divided into 73. And the 72 will all go to the hellfire except one. And he defined that the ones who follow his ways are the ones who are going to be successful and will be saved from the hellfire. So it's something that also the Prophet ﷺ himself got to prophesize that these things will happen. But it took time for them to come into existence, because talking of Shia now, they do have divisions. We have Ithna Ashariya. I think that's the most common and a bit more powerful. We have the Ismailiya. They fall under the 7 Imams, and there are a group of them. We have the Bohras, a part of the Shia, and a number of them. Yes.
Yeah. So you mean like we have at least 73 denominations in Islam?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And the most common ones are, or the ones I get to know?
So commonly with the ones which are popular now, they are the Shia. But people don't know that in Shia, in between themselves, they do have divisions. And then we do have the Qadianis, even though, okay, they are referred to as Muslims, but with Muslims, we don't refer to them, or we don't consider them as Muslims. Yeah, because of when it comes to some creeds, some of the things that they believe in, are totally un-Islamic. And that they are Qadianis, or if you've ever heard of Ahmadiyya, yeah, because they claimed that there is a prophet who came after the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that makes a person not up to be a Muslim. But for Shias, we do have some issues with them. There's this talk of maybe Quran might not be complete, or maybe Jibril did some khiyana. When he was sent to Ali, he sent his message to Prophet Muhammad. Yeah, and a lot of things. But they don't get to a point where they claim that there is a prophet who will come after the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even though talking anything negative about the angels, Allah praised the angels. He said, "Kiramam." In a surah, the verse goes like that they do not disobey Allah whatever Allah commands them to do. So if a person also says that an angel was sent to Muhammad and then he went to someone else, is also it's also a disbelief. Yeah. And we do have a lot of them now. Even within the Sunnis themselves, you'll find we do have other denominations, but it's not a major problem, because we are just talking of bid'ah, and to that extent, unless maybe someone is a bit extreme and thinks that if you believe there is an act of worship that can be done that was never done by the Prophet, you are a kafir, and unless we go to that extent. But initially, Sunnis, we do pray in the same masajid. Yeah, we do interact with one another. We do have these differences. Do we have to determine the sighting of the moon, by the chief Qadi, or maybe international sighting, or we go by Saudi. Those are very minor things that we cannot. So we do have the Salafis, and then we have the Sufis, and also we have a number of them. They are Khawarij. At least there's a book written talking about Firaq wal Adyan. Yeah, I think it was published by World Assembly of Muslim Youth, WAMI. There's a book, I don't know whether it is in English, but at least there's that book that talks about these denominations and also other faiths.
Okay.
Yes.
Here there's a book, so I'll find it, and then I'll link it down in the description box for you guys. Also, so we get back to the real deal.
Yes.
And the question is, what is Nikkah Mut'ah?
Nikkah Mut'ah, the word Mut'ah in Arabic means, pleasure. And, when you say Nikkah Mut'ah, It means that this person wants to enjoy or have that pleasure with. He's marrying for let me use this word for sexual pleasure. That's what in most cases it refers to, but we can technically refer to it as a marriage or a marriage contract that a man has with a lady for a certain duration of time in exchange of money. Yeah.
Okay. So I've seen a lot of social media, they term it as halal prostitution.
No, prostitution can never be halal.
Yeah.
Prostitution can never be halal. When we talk of the actual marriage in Islam, it does have its conditions.
Yes.
And principles that must be adhered to. And if any of that misses, there's no nikah there. Talking of wali, or the guardian, and the first guardian of a lady is a father himself. In absence of father, there is a grandfather, and then from that, others will follow.
Yeah.
And when it gets to a point where this marriage contract takes place in absence of the father, there are no witnesses. It's only agreement between the lady and that man, and mahar. Yeah, for just that pleasure, even if it's a week or whatever duration they put, there's no nikah there. There's no nikah. Yes. Okay, there was a time that it was permitted, and there are hadith that state that. Because when the Prophet ﷺ became the prophet now, and they started calling to Islam, there were some practices going on in the Arabia, which are considered to be jahiliyyah, or the time of ignorance in English. And there are some practices, and we even know there are some point where alcohol was legal. Yeah, until when Salah came, they were instructed not to take alcohol whenever they want to go to the masjid. And eventually, to the third stage, it was totally prohibited. So it became. So these were the practices of Jahiliyyah. And you cannot just come in one day and you want to change everything. Everything must go gradually. So this was prohibited, and then after a certain times, something else was prohibited. So to the time it is referred to as the year of Khaybar. That's when the Prophet ﷺ got to prohibit this Nikkah Mut'ah, because it was a practice that was going on, and it got to a point where now he had to prohibit it. It was going on, and he will not tell them it's not allowed. And then eventually during the 7th year, or the year of Khaybar, that's when he got to prohibit it, and also to consume the domestic donkey's meat, because after serving you for all those years, and now you find that it has become old and it can no longer serve you, and then you slaughter it to eat it. It's being ungrateful, so it's being more inhumane. And that's when it was prohibited. But we're talking of the same species, like a zebra, it's allowed to be consumed in Islam. So that's when the Nikkah Mut'ah was prohibited. And there's also another hadith that the Prophet ﷺ says that I had allowed you to practice this Mut'ah, but now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prohibited it, and whoever is in that marriage should let go that lady, whoever he is with, and should not take back whatever the agreement that they had agreed, or maybe money or something, should not take from them. Back. So it means that when it was prohibited, he immediately instructed the Sahabas to stop it immediately. And that's how it became haram. Yes. Okay.
Till date, there are some denominations that still practice it, and some, I think, out of ignorance, still do it, because the knowledge is out there. Because it took me, I think, one day, and I Googled and I realized it's haram, right? But out of sheer ignorance, or out of lack of knowledge, maybe some people don't know, they still practice it. So if, let's say I am part of it, so there was one question, like, if I am a sister who has been in an agreement like that,
Yes.
is there a way that we can convert the muta nikah into a halal marriage? Then the second question was, if I'm a sister still in the same situation, how do I go about breaking that bond?
Yeah, immediately is to follow the right procedure. Now the man is supposed to go and propose, and the proposal is done to the parents if they are alive, and then the rest of the things, you know, 2 witnesses, and you know, you should say your mahar, because the lady is the one who says her dowry in Islam. You say the mahar, and then the nikah proceeds.
So it can move from...
Yeah, it can move from being that stated to the other one.
Okay.
Yes.
Then-
But if someone is practicing and have got no intention of maybe trying to make it more official, so they're supposed to just leave it, because it's haram, it's not allowed. And you know, this one thing, you know, the normal marriage,
Yes.
in Islam is, you know, its principle is, you know, for these people to be together, and is for it to be permanent, without any intention of, you know, leaving this lady, of divorcing eventually. You know, it's about, you know, at least to have children together. You know, it's what in Quran is also referred to as, you know, to bring tranquility amongst the couples. So, you know, but looking at the nikah of Mut'ah, in most cases, it's for sexual enjoyment and for man,
Yeah,
not for the
not
lady.
for the lady.
Yes.
Then there was another question.
Yes.
Who is responsible for maintaining the child or children if a wife gets pregnant in the presence of muta nikah?
So eventually that will be, that child will be Ibn Zina, out of wedlock.
Out of wedlock.
Yeah, and any child who is born out of wedlock does not inherit from their fathers, legally in Islamic law.
Yeah.
And you know, so everything to do with that child, they do depend from their mother's
Their
side.
mother.
Even the naming, yeah, they'll be so and so being the name of their mother, not the father.
Ah.
Yeah, I don't know whether the Shias do have something to do with that.
Okay, so the other question was Nikkah Mut'ah is it let me just read it. Is sex by couples married under Nikkah Mut'ah interpreted as zina in Sunni Islam?
Yes, I've mentioned that. I've said it's zina, yeah, because it does not meet the principles of halal nikah.
Halal nikah.
Yes.
Okay. My husband, this one was a question by one person. My husband married me temporarily, but I did not know if it was a temporary nikah. So what should I do?
Yeah, they're supposed to now make it official. If they were both Muslims at that time, they should now make it official. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you say, is it still halal or is it still practiced among other denominations?
No, it's not. It is haram. It is not halal, and till the day of Qiyamah, it will never be halal. Yeah, but there are denominations who still practice it now, like the Shias, and it's something that happened. There was, I think, last year, if I'm not wrong, there was a documentary by BBC.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was highlighting the same, the Mut'ah. You know, when they go to Karbala, you know, for that, what goes on there is Mut'ah. And, you know, the most unfortunate thing is it was, you know, it was Mut'ah with minors,
Yeah.
you know, with young girls. And, you know, what I usually say is whoever says that Mut'ah is halal, you know, I do tell them, you know, if they can give us their daughters for Mut'ah, yeah, if
they can.
Yeah, if they can. You know, if it's something that is religious, upright. You see, and, you know, most of them wouldn't accept that. And, you know, and you know, it was a practice, you know, during those times, you know, there was no rule of law. You know, it was chaos in that society. And, you know, whenever they would travel to other places, they would want to do their own stuff, and that's how they ended up doing that. So there's no difference of a person doing it for a month and a person who does it for a one night or a person who does it for 20 minutes.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Because it's only the agreement between that lady and the man and whatever is going to get in, and as an exchange of that. So it's a way of using girls for personal pleasures, which is not even allowed. Our community does not allow that. Even our communities, our traditions, our African tradition doesn't allow that.
Okay.
Yes.
I think that was all my questions. If I did not ask your question, please make sure you mention it down in the comment below. I'll forward it to Imam Salim and I'll make sure to give an answer to you.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for sparing your time to join me and have this discussion with the people. Sure. I was part of the people who did not understand what's going on. And I needed, they always say, there's always a person to guide you to the light.
True.
Right?
Yes.
And now I think we are all at a better place. We understand that it's haram. There is no day or night that it will be halal at any point. Right?
Sure. It's also my pleasure to have been the one to explain this to the Aisha's nation.
Aisha's nation.
To explain it, and I believe most of our sisters, our brothers are going to learn something from this, and may Allah give us tawfiq. Shukran.
So,
Shukran.
Thank you so much for joining me in today's episode. It's my first episode in the series of Let's Connect. Let me know about any other questions you have, and we will make sure we get them answered, especially if you have careers that you're thinking might be haram or might be halal, and you're questioning if it's okay for you to study that. Put them down in the comment below. There'll be a version on Anchor and also on Instagram. Thank you guys. Bye. Don't forget to like, follow, share, and subscribe.